This is Season 2, Episode 22 with Kenzie Ashcraft, owner and operator of the Farm Girl Rural Boutique and General Store of Ada, Oklahoma. Hey y'all, and welcome. You're listening to the Cowgirl Confessions Podcast. I'm your host, Dakota Dawn Johnson, small-town cowgirl with Southern roots, blazing a trail as a Midwest ranch wife, mama, and businesswoman. The mission of Cowgirl Confessions is to share the wonderfully wild and Western life stories of cowgirls from all walks of life. We'll talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to navigating careers, cowboys, kids, and cattle. Legendary cowgirl Dale Evans said it best. Cowgirl is a pioneer spirit, a special brand of American courage. The cowgirl faces life head-on, lives by her own lights, and makes no excuses. Cowgirls take stands. They speak up. They defend the things they hold dear. A cowgirl might be a rancher, a barrel racer, a bull rider, or an actress, but she's just as likely to be a checker at the local Winn-Dixie, a full-time mother, a banker, an attorney, or an astronaut. If you're into wet saddle blankets, talks with God, buckets full of laughter, and the life lessons learned in the process, kick off your boots and settle in. I pray these stories encourage, empower, and give you just the leg up you need. Here's to embracing the cowgirl state of mind, no matter how wild and Western life may get along the way. I am so honored today to have Kenzie Ashcraft of Ada, Oklahoma. And you guys, to know her is to love her. She has such an eye for design, but like functional fashion as well. And she's the owner and operator of Farm Girl. It's a rural boutique and general store in Ada, Oklahoma. And she has so many exciting things going on right now, you guys. So Kenzie, thank you for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Gosh, so excited. So many questions I want to ask you. But before we get into all that, though, I guess just give the listeners a little more background about you. And I'm intrigued, too, because while I know that we both share love for, roping, I don't know your whole story on where your Western roots come from. So I'm excited to learn that today.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a little backstory. I come from, on both sides of my family, generations and generations of farmers and ranchers. My mom's side, my grandpa calf roped a little bit. They ran a sale barn, trained horses. My dad's side, he was a big farmer up in the Newkirk, Ponca City area. And so that's kind of my farming and ranching background. And it's just kind of trickled down the family tree. My dad runs cattle. He and my husband run a custom hay operation. And so yeah, that's kind of where I come from as far as family history. But I started riding horses when basically after I could walk. I always say, I think I learned to sit in the saddle before I learned to do anything else. But, I started doing horse shows and play days and things like that. And I didn't start roping till I was about 10. My dad actually didn't grow up roping. He learned right alongside with me. And so I thought that was really cool. Looking back at it now, but I pretty much grew up with a bunch of old men in a roping pen, and they taught me what they knew. And I look back and those are some of my absolute favorite memories. But from there, as far as rodeo goes, I would do the junior rodeos. I did some Texas TJ rodeos, Oklahoma rodeos, and I would break away and run barrels and things like that. And then team roping, I would just do for fun, with the guys or with my dad. And I went to Oklahoma State for a couple of years and roped there for the team. So that's kind of where my background goes. But I basically just do it because I enjoy it. It's a hobby of mine.
So fun. And that is really, really neat and such a great memory. I'm sure lots of memories of getting to grow up and learning right alongside your dad. And, now that you have children of your own, I'm sure that that's something that you want to, you're already making time and whatnot to do with your girls.
Oh, yes. I think Paisley, she's already roping the dummy better than I ever did when I first started. She just kind of has that natural swing, and it makes me so excited. I never wanted to push horses on my girls, but I sure prayed hard that they would be into that so we could have that to do together and have that in common. So it's really exciting to pass that along to your kids, and it's a good family activity, I think.
Absolutely. I too have some of the best memories. You don't realize it at the time, but there's 5 years between me and my middle brother and 10 years between me and my youngest. And so at one point, like my mom and the three of us, we were doing high school rodeos and then junior rodeos. And then when my middle brother was like in the 6th grade, that's when like the cinch, well, it was Wrangler at the time. I think it's cinch junior high rodeo now, but that had come along. And so like, there was something to go to every weekend, and we just spent, hours, like that's what you did on the weekends, and hours in the practice pen getting ready. And, you don't realize it until that chapter's over. Like there's just so much time you get to spend together that had we not all had, there's not really any other sports, I feel like, that all those different ages you can be at the same place, kind of doing the same thing. So it's really cool. And I'm with you too, like on saying those prayers. Have a little boy, and I say that same prayer all the time. I'm like, Lord, if he enjoys it, I promise, like I'll make sure that he can have the horses to go and do this. So.
Oh yeah, I remember doing homework in the truck, going home from the rope and pin and doing it in the truck by the little dash light or the visor light. And I don't know, those were just some of the best memories, and going to all the high school rodeos and having grandparents come watch. And it's a blessing to live that way of life. I think we take it for granted growing up because, we don't know any better, but I look back now and I'm just like, wow, I'm so thankful and blessed that I got the opportunity to live like that and grow up that way.
Absolutely. And, what I love kind of to go into what you're doing now, you bring so much of that lifestyle to people that shop with you, at Farm Girl. And I would love to hear a little more, Kenzie, about, you said you went to school at Oklahoma State. And so kind of what's your background in, and did you see yourself becoming a boutique owner one day, or how did that really come about?
Actually, no, I was a ag business major. I do nothing I went to school for. But to back it up a little bit, my very first job in high school was at a local boutique. And I fell in love with it. I'm an introvert at heart, so it kind of broke me out of my shell a little bit, taught me how to actually talk and communicate with people. And I just loved being able to style and to decorate different sections of the store. And I just always had it in the back of my head, I guess, that, man, this would be a really cool thing to do one day and have a little shop of my own. Never really thought anything of it. And then I went on to college. I had that job for about 2.5 years, and then moved to go to college. And I was an ag business major, and was dating my husband at the time, or my now husband at the time. And we got married my sophomore year and had a baby really quickly. And then we decided to move back to my hometown to be closer to family. And then I got into an LPN program, nursing school, finished that. And then 2 months later, opened a store. And so it was kind of a crazy whirlwind of how it all happened. But the opportunity came and we just jumped on it. And I've been doing it for 7 years now. So it's really neat. It was definitely God's hand in all of it. It has nothing to do with me. But I'm so thankful and grateful that that little seed that was planted, in my heart, that he brought it to fruition. And it's just been such an extreme blessing to me. And it's just really fun. And I'm very thankful. I've met some of the best people through the store. I think that's my favorite part. Developed some really deep friendships that I just can't imagine not having. And I wouldn't have had them without Farm Girl. And so it's been a really, really unique ride. And I'm excited for this new chapter that's about to start.
Okay. First of all, you said it's been a blessing for you. I can just go ahead and attest. You have been a blessing through like Farm Girl, I feel like is a ministry in itself, like the outreach that you have with it, because you have blessed my life, like getting to know you. And then we found out that we have very similar friends and, all the things. So it's such a
Yes.
small world. But, on top of that, I have like so many questions. I know we're not going to get through them today. I'm going to sound like the nosy neighbor on here asking these things, but I know like you have to be working so hard because you have awesome content that you've been sharing, on social media and everything from, blog about, maybe things you're working through in the Bible, and then also, with your girls and school and home decor. I mean, the hayfield meals, like you do so many things, but you do them well. And so I guess I'm just going to hand it over to you, Kenzie, and let you just tell us kind of where like all these different things kind of came from, and because they complement each other, like they all just fit together so well. And I'm that person that's like, oh, I want to buy clothes from you, and I want your recipes, and I want to know how you're decorating your house. And I feel like a lot of the listeners can relate to that, because you just that personal like style you have, it's very consistent, but like it just like overflows into all those different types of businesses that you have built and that you're sharing with us. So yeah, I'm excited.
Thank you. So for the store, I don't know. I just think with all of these little different avenues, I mean, like the hayfield mills is basically, like I mentioned before, my dad has a custom hay baling business he does for several ranchers and farmers. And then obviously we do our own to feed out our own cattle that he and my husband operate in the summers. And it's like obviously it's a full-time job from May to October. But a couple years ago, about the only time we get to see him, my husband's a firefighter. I guess I should preface that. But my husband is a firefighter every third day, full time. He's 24 on, 48 off. And then in the summer, when he's not at the fire station, he is in the hayfield. And so about the only time the girls and I will see him is when we're taking him food. And so I thought, all these other farm and ranch wives are going through the same thing. Let's do something fun. Let's share our recipes. Let's share like tractor snacks and just different ideas on how to prepare or pack, or just to give them something different to eat that's not a sandwich. I know they probably get tired of that. And so I created Hayfield Mills account, and I got a little active on it last year. But this year I'm going to try to really go full force because I'll have the store and everything set up by then. But I plan to have some merchandise that comes along with that, some recipe cards, just some fun little things. But I just thought, that'll be fun. Me and my girls, and my mom, that's what we get to do, is we get to prepare them food, and we'll go see them out in the hayfield and maybe take a ride and give them some nourishment and just give the girls a little time before they have to go to bed to see their dad. And so that's kind of where that was birthed from. And I've had a great response to it so far. It's basically just for fun. And I think that's why people are drawn to it. I'm not trying to make a business out of it or anything like that. I would like to do a cookbook, and I'm hoping to start that this summer, even if it's just for my family and my kids. We'll have that to look back on. But yeah, I just wanted it to be something that is relatable and relevant to our way of life and the farming and ranching community. And I don't know, just something to have fun and do for the summer. So that's where that came from.
I love that. And I love, like you said too, not only do you share, different recipes, but like anybody that's had to package meals of any sort, anything besides
Yes.
a sandwich, and like trying to get it out on a bumpy hay field, and then there, it
Yes.
can just be a mess. And so that was one of the things I love so much when you started sharing. I was like, yes, like somebody else that gets it. Like if, based on what you're putting together, like tinfoil is not always going to cut it. So just having some different, ideas and how to keep food warm and stuff. So I'm really excited, and you're going to need to print a few extras, because I'm sure like I'm not the only person that's going to want this cookbook. So
Sure.
You should probably plan to have a few extra copies of that.
For sure.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk about your like home decor and design, Kenzie, because I mean, it's like drool worthy. I mean, I love it. And you know what I love the most about it is it's absolutely beautiful, but it's like approachable. Like I haven't ever been to your home, but like I wouldn't be afraid to come in and sit on your couch. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I've posted several living room shots, and the question I get the most is, where is your couch from? That is awesome. And I always laugh because my couch is almost 20 years old. It was in my parents' house when I was growing up. And when we moved into our home, they gave it to us, and I was so excited. I was an only child, so it didn't get a lot of wear and tear, and my parents take care of their stuff. And so I was super happy and excited to get it, but I always get a kick of that. But we actually live in a metal home. It's not, I call it a barn house, but that's what we live in. And yeah, I want homes to feel lived in. I want family pictures on the wall. But I think there's a different way to decorate to match your style, but also look cowgirl chic and pretty. And I just really enjoy putting things together and mixing different things. I don't like super matchy, but I can still make a room flow. And yeah, it's just been a fun little project. I was going to start booking clients in January, and then this new opportunity with the store came about. So I have had to put that on hold, but I'm hoping to start working on a couple of clients' projects I have lined up next month, and I cannot wait to share.
Oh, I can't wait to see all that unfold. And you know, that's a gift being able to do that. Not everybody, you know, has that knack or can kind of visualize the finished product. And so really excited to see that unfold. And when you start taking on, you know, new clients and everything there. So that brings me kind of to the next part. You've had a lot going on with the boutique lately. And I guess before we talk about the new part, what's happening, you know, you shared with us that, you know, this opportunity kind of just came about. You've had the boutique for, you know, 7 years now. Give us a little backstory on what that has looked like, kind of maybe how that's changed over the 7 years leading up to this new opportunity.
For sure. So I had graduated nursing school, and I was going through the Book of Ruth at the time. And I'll just kind of give a little backstory on how I got the name Farm Girl. But I was going through the Book of Ruth, and then this opportunity came about. So I was kind of doing this Bible study and then praying about this decision. And we thought, you know what if we never get the chance? The space has opened up. Let's just try it. And I shared in one of our Instagram posts, I think it's been a week ago or so, when I was kind of telling the story before I made our announcement. But I looked back at pictures and I'm like, how did we make a dime? I hardly had anything in that space. And it's really neat to see. And it makes you really humble, because you're like, man, you don't forget where you came from ever. But anyways, as I was going through this Bible study, I kept seeing qualities in Ruth that I wanted, and I wanted my store to reflect. And she was loving, and she was loyal and hardworking and humble. And she was out in the fields with Boaz, gleaning the fields and harvesting and farming. And to me, I was like, she was like the original farm girl. Like she has kind of, like you talk about, that pioneer spirit, that cowgirl spirit. She had that hard work ethic and farm girl spirit. Mm-hmm. And you know, there was lots of, because I was kind of toying around with names like the rancher's daughter and things like that, and I think a lot of those had already been taken, and I hadn't really seen farm girl out there, and it all kind of came about, and I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. And so I picked farm girl, and obviously, because we have such a rich history with farming in our family, everything kind of fit. And so that's kind of where it came about. But yeah, I always talk about, you know, Ruth is our farm girl. And I kind of explain that in my blog story a little bit, but that's where that came about. And just, it's really evolved. Like I said, I look back at pictures and I'm just like, we had nothing in that shop. I've shared some before photos, and you can even go on my blog and see like our grand opening when we opened in 2014. And I'm just like, what did people buy? But now it's just like we've come so far, even though it doesn't always feel like it, especially last year after COVID. And we've got a store full of really great products and a really curated selection of merchandise that I've worked really hard to handpick. And it's just been really neat. My kids have grown up in my shop. I brought a new baby into the store shortly after we opened. And it's just been neat to be a family business and to have that freedom to be at everything I need to be at with my kids, and also have the freedom of just having a say in my career. And not to say that it's easy, and not to say that I don't work more than I ever would at a regular 9-to-5, because like I'm here right now
Yes.
working. But it's also been such a blessing for our family. It's stressful, but I'm very thankful for the opportunity. And I also know that it may not always be forever. It may not be permanent, and that's okay. This last, several months, I've just been really grateful for what I have been given. And especially last year, it's just really humbled me and made me realize, like, you know what, if this is as good as it gets, it's been a really fun ride. So I'm really excited though for this new chapter, and I'm so grateful to be where I'm at now. It's been really fun to actually work around some people. I didn't realize how lonely I got working by myself all the time until customers came in, but I'm really excited for what's to come.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited for you. And now your previous shop where you were at for like 7 years, that was on Main Street in Ada, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it was actually 2 doors down from the original boutique I started at in high school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're about 10 miles from that location where you guys have relocated?
We're about 8 miles. Yeah.
8
so
miles. Okay.
And this is also really confusing. I haven't changed my handle or anything. We're still Farm Girl Ada on Instagram. And that's because we're still considered Ada. When I do post our address, it'll say Stonewall, which is confusing. We're not in Stonewall. That's just the address. But I would say we're like rural Ada. So
Okay.
There's lots of little small, tiny towns around Ada, and school communities like Bing and Latta is still considered Ada. So that's kind of how we are too. But yeah, we're 8 miles. I would say about 6 minutes from where I currently was, or where I was before here.
And so now you've kind of expanded this new opportunity. It's Farm Girl Rural Boutique and General Store. And I would just love for you to share with us more about how this opportunity came about, and what is in store, and when we can start shopping with you again.
Oh, yes. So I got a kick out of your podcast that you did with Nikki Callison from Callison Ranch Beef. If any of your listeners got to check out that episode. But in that episode, she talked about something that they were adding to the market. And I just laughed because that was me, but we couldn't announce anything yet. But I've moved and I changed my tagline because I am now a rural boutique and general store. I'm not on Main Street anymore. I just felt deep in my spirit that it was just time for a change. That chapter had kind of come and gone for me. My online store has just really evolved and changed, and I do a lot more online than I do in store. And so it just made sense to try to focus on that a little bit more. And I just wasn't able to do that with running a Main Street business and having people come in all of the time. And just last year was hard on everybody with the COVID, and we were made to shut down for a couple of months. And it was a lot last year. And I think that gave me even more of a push. But to back it up a little bit, we've carried Callison Ranch Beef in our boutique on Main Street for the last 2 years. She had a little freezer in there, and we were also a pickup location for her. And I've known Nikki for a while, and I've known all of the McCoys my whole life. Janet shot my parents' wedding. She shot my baby pictures. I mean, we've known them forever. My husband works with Nikki's brother at the fire department. And so it's been really cool to kind of keep those family relationships. But anyways, around, it was at the end of Christmas, probably right before New Year's, she had come in, and Zach and I had already been talking, like, we need to make a change. Like, something has got to change this year. And I had talked to him about, maybe pitching the idea to Nikki. I knew that they were building this new market, and she had mentioned to me before that she had no idea what she was going to do for the retail side. And I had asked Zach, I said, what if I just asked her, like, see what her ideas were, or if she might consider having me. And he was like, yeah, ask her, we'll see. And if she says no, that's fine. I said, okay. And so she came in, and I had mentioned it to her, and she said, you know what, let me talk to Roger. And so we had text back and forth, and she said, why don't you come out here and look at it? We'll pray about it and then go from there. And we had came out to look at it, and my favorite way to design any kind of room is just bare bones and blank walls. And that's exactly what it was. There was absolutely nothing in the market. And I just saw like a store come to life. And she had told me kind of her ideas about her freezers and selling her beef, and just some different ideas that she had. And anyways, we went home that night and discussed some things, and kind of how we could change our business a little bit and maybe drive people out here, since we are a little more of a drive than people normally would to come see me. And anyway, so we decided to go for it. And ever since, I hit the ground running, and I've been running nonstop trying to make all the changes. I told Zach, I said, I feel like I got married again. Like, when you change your last name, you got to change everything over. I mean, changing my address and all of my shipping details, and there's just a lot more, like my taxes and things like that. So I've been having to do all of that behind the scenes, and then I'm wanting to add all of this new stuff I've been picking up for the market to kind of coincide with her stuff that she's bringing in, and so I've been doing all of that behind the scenes. But yeah, we're really excited for this new adventure. It is beautiful. We have downsized in space a little bit, but I have not downsized in merchandise. If anything, I've added more. But back here in the shipping barn, where they're at, I actually have a little office area, and then like a mini warehouse storage area where I put all of my overstock stuff. So, but the market is beautiful. I cannot wait to share and show you what it looks like. Nikki and I have so many ideas and events and things that we want to offer, and we want it to be just an experience for people to come out and enjoy. So I cannot wait to get going.
Oh, I have no doubt it will definitely be just an experience like you described. It's going to be awesome. Kenzie, you said, the timing on this. I mean, we're recording this podcast early March, and this came about in December. So you're talking about like in less than 90 days. And I feel like the word for 2020, everybody was like, pivot. But I mean, that's a huge pivot. What you've done, you and Nikki and Roger and your husband, like, y'all looked, and then you said, you know what, we're going to pray about this. And how has it felt, on your end, being able to really kind of step into this role?
It's been a little stressful. Just having to shut the online store down. And I had to do that because we had to pack up. But I couldn't explain that to my customers because we weren't ready to announce. We really wanted to do it kind of together. And when we were closer to opening, we're going to be opening next week. When you hear this, we'll be opened. But we just kind of wanted to wait to announce, and I wanted to do it in a way, because we were making such a transition. I wanted to go back and like tell our story, and we rebranded also. So I got a new logo, and just share some things and like the journey that we've been on. And that's another reason that we had waited. And so I think too, I'm a little bit, when it comes to the store, I'm a people pleaser, and you kind of need to be and have to be in retail You got to keep your customer happy, but just having to tell people or turn people away when it comes to like shopping online and stuff like that. I've just felt so bad saying, I'm sorry, we're shut down right now, we're closed, but we are going to be reopening. We're just rebranding and things like that. But I'm excited to get that back up next week. But it's been stressful, but it's also, I've had such complete peace about it. And I know that I've made the right choice and the right decision. And I'm really grateful. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm very, very honored that they're allowing me to take over the retail space in the market and allowing me to be here. I'm here all the time, but my kids are welcome. My husband's welcome. We just feel like a big family. And
your dog's even welcome. I've seen the pictures and
I
I love that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Chief used to go to work with me quite a bit on Main Street, and he would sleep under the counter. Most of the time people wouldn't even know he was there, but yes, Nikki even lets Chief come to visit, and he sure loves Bonnie. So that's been really fun. He doesn't come all the time, but he comes every now and then. So he's really enjoyed that.
It sounds like just such an incredible partnership that's going to continue to grow and just, flourish. I am just so happy for all of you. And, Kenzie, without a doubt, I'm sure there's been so much that, you've learned over the past few years. And so is there anything you could share with the listeners, some of the things that you've learned, in retail? And
yeah, absolutely. I've always tried to stick with the mentality of you can't sell something well if you don't 100% like it. So when I am at market and I'm picking merchandise, I obviously want to please the customer, but my customer also comes to me for my style. So I try to stay true to my style and just be authentic with that. And so if I have any advice, I would just say, the customer is essentially buying what you have and what you like. So stay true to what you enjoy and kind of your style and your color palette. And I think that you'll do fine.
Yes. It's so easy. I'm sure I'm on the sales side, I've shown you our line at Ariat a few times.
Yes.
And, just because something is maybe one of my top sellers, that's one thing I've always admired about you, that like you your style, you stick to it, and your customers. And I love when you would shop, you would be like, this looks like so-and-so. I feel like that she would wear that, like you're putting actual people with these outfits as you're buying. And so it really, really comes across. I feel like whenever, you see your style and you see these new collections that you've bought, you've put a lot of time and thought into those.
Yes. Yeah.
Kenzie, I'm wondering, is there anything, as you are stepping into this new role that you're hoping, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, kind of as you look back and you've got littles in this season, as we talked about, you have two beautiful little girls. What do you hope they remember the most and that they would tell their friends about growing up in the Farm Girl boutique?
Well, something I didn't mention before is another reason why we felt the push to make this transition and to change is because particularly, but my husband also have just had it on our heart to eventually homeschool our girls. And Nikki is so gracious. Her niece Kate works here full time and has her kids here a lot. And she's just like, if you need to bring your kids, bring your kids. And I'm so grateful for that. But also I'll just have the freedom and the ability to be a mom first. And there were many times, especially in the beginning, that did not come first. And unfortunately, my family would suffer from that. And I would suffer from that because I felt, the mom guilt and all of that. But I don't know. I just hope that they look back and they see that I was able to be there no matter what, or that they could come to work with me, or that that they saw their mom like pursuing her dreams and working hard, but also being a wife and a mom first and putting her family first. And because I've really been, especially the last couple of years, been convicted of like, that's the most important job, as like the Lord, reminding me that that's the most important job that I could ever give you, is being a wife and a mom. And, Farm Girl is next or comes later, but you need to steward these people first and steward them well. And so I hope that they look back and see that. But also, as far as, what I hope to see the store become later, and just the market too, Nikki's part, since we're all in it together, I want it to be an experience. Nikki has such a vision of what she can see coming to life out here, and I've just kind of piggybacked off that and thrown my ideas and my opinions at it too. And I don't know if she's mentioned this in her podcast, I can't remember, but there's actually a little ranch house right by the market that they're turning into an Airbnb, and there's a horse barn out next to us as well, and she wants to do long table suppers and some classes, and we have a patio area that Roger plans to smoke some meat when we have some events and serve food and things like that. So I hope it can eventually turn into destination spot, but also just a really cool place to have fellowship and community. And I don't want it just to be about buy our stuff. I want people to feel like, they're friends and they're treated well, and they're getting good quality product, not just with my stuff, but they're getting good quality food and beef from ranchers who do it start to finish, and they know what they're eating and where it comes from. And I don't know, I just think we all complement each other really well, and I can see some really cool things happening with it one day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on that. And as far as just me, when I think about the actual experience, is what an awesome one-stop shop. At the same time, hey, you need to grab some meat for dinner, or you need to pick up that birthday present, or maybe that treat yourself, mama. I just think that's so important, and especially sometimes in small towns and stuff, it's hard to feel like you have a ton of options. But I mean, with you and Nikki, bringing all of your products together right there in one spot, it just sounds like an incredible place to be able to gather, like you said, and fellowship. And what a gift that's going to be to the community, and as well as people traveling through like me. I really cannot wait to get down there in May and check it out in person. Kenzie, I've got a couple more questions I want to ask you as we kind of wrap this up. Okay.
Sure.
What is the wildest thing you've ever had to fix, or like your mom or dad or somebody that you've had to just kind of piece together with duct tape, baling wire, or bungee cords?
When you ask me this, I could not think of anything. And I know there's a number of things, because I feel like duct tape and baling wire, that's just as important as having a hammer or a screwdriver in your toolbox.
Yes.
And so, but one funny thing that I just remember, and people who know my pawpaw will just die laughing because they know the accuracy of the story, but we always give him a hard time because he is one that does not throw anything away. And if there's anything you need, you can probably find it on the back of his pickup. And so I just remember one time I was in 4-H, and it was the night before it was due. It was like a county fair thing I wanted to enter. And my dad and I built this bird house. And I had I wanted to put a horseshoe on it, and I needed some barbed wire to trim the edges out, and I needed a hanger for it. And I kid you not, I found all three of those things on the back of my pawpaw's truck, and I found some baling wire to make the hanger to hang the birdhouse. And I got second place with that birdhouse, and I was so excited. But I just remember that being like a 4-H project or something for the county fair. And I just thought that would be funny to tell, because,
yes,
I'm sure I fixed a bridle at a rodeo or something. I think we've all done that at one point in time, but that was pretty wild to be able to find all three of those things I needed on the back of his pickup.
God bless pawpaws and their borderline.
Pawpaw is awesome.
Yeah,
yes.
He sounds a lot like my pawpaw, and I got a few of those tendencies too. My husband would tell you if you looked in our shop. So. But that's awesome. He had everything you needed. Such a fun story, Kenzie. This podcast is really dedicated to just encouraging women from all walks of life to embrace that cowgirl state of mind. And so I'm curious, what does the phrase cowgirl state of mind, what does that mean to you?
Well, I've noticed in your introduction of your podcast, you mentioned Dale Evans, and it's so funny because I have that quote on my blog actually. And I don't know, cowgirl state of mind, I also feel like it correlates with our Ruth story. has that pioneer spirit. She faces life head on. She's humble. She's loyal and loving. I just think about cowgirl spirit, putting your head down and going to work and, you don't need recognition for it. That's just your way of life. And you're very thankful for it. So that's kind of what I think about when I think of the cowgirl spirit and attitude.
Just so proud of you and love how you're sharing, like your cowgirl and farm girl spirit, with the world, and what an impact you're having, Kenzie. Just so proud of you. Can't wait to continue to see just all the lives that you touch through, what you're doing, and maybe I can continue to get some fun inspiration. I feel like you're the one that, like, it's what Pinterest looks like for home decor. And then I try doing something like it, and it doesn't ever look quite like that. But, I aspire to be, have that knack like you do. Can you tell everybody, Kenzie, where they can go to follow you if they're not already shopping with you at Farm Girl?
Yes, for sure. And just to piggyback off that a little bit, please know Instagram is just a highlight reel. If anyone wants to know my real life, I still have a pumpkin that is decomposing on my porch. So if that tells you anything about how much I have my life together right now, then I hope you feel a little bit better about your own, because
I do.
I might have a stage bedroom in my picture, but in the background, there's also probably 15 loads of laundry behind me. So anyway, I do have a real life and it is messy. So, but yes, and thank you again for having me on, Dakota. It's really been an honor, and I'm so proud of you. I love following along with you, and you're such just a positive person and a great light to follow. And I'm just really, really glad that we got to connect and meet a couple years ago. And it's been really cool to have you in my life and our friendship we have, and I'm really thankful for it. But you can follow me. I'm on Instagram. My personal account is _farm girl. And then my store is Farm Girl Ada. And I know that's super confusing for a lot of people because they think our name is Farm Girl Ada, but it's just Farm Girl. Ada is where we're located, or outside of Ada. And then if you want to hop on, if you're a farm and ranch wife, you can follow me at Hayfield Meals in the summer. And then I'm going to be posting my home design projects at Farm Girl Home Design. I haven't posted anything there yet. So, but that will be going pretty soon when I get all of this store fixed up. But I've been trying to stay plugged in on my blog lately and get that back going. I've had a blog for 11 years now. I've archived a lot of my posts. Yeah, I remember one of my first blogs I ever started reading was Pioneer Woman, and it was before she had a show or anything. And I thought, man, she's just like talking about her daily life. And then I was in high school. But after that, she started doing her cooking show and stuff. And I'm like, she's just blogging about her everyday life. And I love it. Like, I love hearing her stories and laughing, and it's relatable. And so when we got married, I started then, and then we had our baby, and I've kind of blogged through Paisley's life. And a lot of that is set to private now, those posts, sure, just for my kids' sake and stuff. But I've started hopping back on and sharing some projects and, things about the store. And so, but yeah, you can find my blog at farmgirlblogs.com, and I have everything linked there too. You can find Hayfield Meals, Farm Girl Home Design, the store, all of it on my blog.
So much incredible content, you guys. If you're looking for something to brighten your social media feed, or, just brighten your day, go check out Kenzie's website. Get on the blog. And Kenzie, when will the online shop be open again?
So as you're listening to this, we're open. Today is March 11th. We're opening on March 18th, a week from today. And so you can shop at the store. It is farmgirlboutique.com. And we have lots of fun things going on there. You can sign up. Hopefully by then I'll have my text list ready to go, and I post everything on Instagram. So that's probably the best way to follow us for like new arrivals. I'm trying to get better about storying and stuff. I'm just not very good at getting in front of the camera. I'm trying to get better at that. But I try to do like loyalty points and text messaging list perks, and I send a lot of newsletters out. So yeah, you can sign up for everything on the website, farmgirlboutique.com.
And you guys, Kenzie has so graciously offered to even throw in a pretty sweet surprise for all of, I say all of you listeners, but I'm going to use it too. So all of us listeners. So Kenzie, do you want to give us that discount code?
Absolutely. You can use the discount code COWGIRL for 10% off the rest of this year. You can use it anytime. I never do discounts that combine with other discounts, but you're more than welcome to use it anytime. You can use it multiple times. So yeah, just discount code COWGIRL.
And you guys, I know that there's so many things on her site, but I am like, she has an awesome line of like custom graphic tees and a couple of like sweatshirts. You've got to check those out. They are some of my absolute favorite. They're on the softest t-shirts. So I know what I'm going to use my discount code on already. So.
Yeah, that is like one of my favorite things that I've been able to bring into the store is we started our own t-shirt line. Oh, it's been like pretty close to, I'd say probably 4 or 5 years now almost. But we call it Farm Girl Cattle Co. My friend Talia and I have really started designing some really cool things, and she should get all the credit for the t-shirt line, especially within this last year, because she has just designed some stinking awesome tees for me. I will give her an idea that's in my head, and she will make it come to life, and it just blows me out of the water. All of my rebrand is credit to her. And if you aren't following her, you need to go check her out. It is but Wapiti Sage, WAPITI Sage, designs on Instagram. And she also has her own kids boutique called Little Coyotes. And I just found out tonight an exciting announcement that I'm going to be able to have some of Little Coyotes in the shop. And for all of you boy moms, get excited, because we're going to have some cool boys apparel handmade by her, designed by her, and that'll be coming up probably late this spring. So y'all need to check her out though, because she's turned into one of my super, super dear friends, and she really makes Farm Girl just shine and sparkle. And I'm so, so grateful and in debt to her for all of her hard work with my shop, especially the last 90 days, because it would not be possible without Talia.
Oh my goodness. I will be sure to put her information in the show notes too, Kenzie, so people can go and follow her, because your graphics and just the whole rebranding, it's stunning. And it really tells a story. So you guys, thank you for tuning in today. And just thank y'all for being here with us. I hope this, brought a smile to your face and added some value and encouragement to your day. Y'all take care.
Thank you for spending your time with me on the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm so glad y'all stopped by. If you could take a moment to share this episode and tag us on social media, I'd be happier than a cowgirl in a sea of buy one, get one vintage turquoise. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss an episode. New episodes will be released bi-monthly. Please leave us a review if you feel so led by going to iTunes. Your feedback will really help us breed the idea of grabbing life by the horns with a cowgirl state of mind into women across the globe. Some that may have never even had the privilege to throw their leg over a horse, but could most certainly use the cowgirl state of mind while navigating life. Thanks again, y'all. Until next time, keep pursuing your dreams with that all go and no woe mentality. Remember, you're writing a story that's worth saddling up for, sister.